CFBHN is a not-for-profit 501c3 corporation contracting with community service organizations to provide a full array of publicly funded mental health and substance abuse services in 14 Suncoast counties. Services include acute care, residential treatment, housing, medical, outpatient, recovery support, and prevention. Our friends from CFBHN, well, they join me next on Bayside. Good morning and welcome to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders. We are talking with the good folks from CFBHN. Wonder what it stands for? Central Florida Behavioral Health Network. Here to talk to us more about it is the Chief Clinical Officer, Dr. David Clapp. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
I absolutely love it when you guys come because you really give us a full understanding of just what it is that you do, but more importantly, raising awareness that you're actually there doing these things in this 14-county stretch of the Suncoast region. Wow. So thank you for being here.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk. When you talk about CFBHN being a managing entity, I know we discuss it every time you're here, but I think it's so important because our viewers don't always, we've got new viewers sometimes and maybe one that just tuned in on the last part of the last time you were here. Tell me what that means exactly and what does that mean for your presence in this 14-county region?
Central Florida Behavioral Health Network, as you mentioned, is a managing entity. This was created by our legislature, Florida legislature. There are 7 managing entities that manage all the public funds for behavioral health and substance abuse care in our state. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, we cover the Suncoast region, so all your viewers and outside your viewing area from Pasco all the way down to Collier County, Lakeland down to LaBelle. We cover all of that area, 63 depending on the day, substance abuse and mental health providers that provide treatment, as you mentioned, aftercare, housing support, case management, anything that someone could need to recover, get their treatment, and go on with their lives.
I know, deep breath, all these things.
It's
all encompassing. And every county, even regions within the county, has their own unique issues at hand that you guys have to be aware of. And so it's tricky, and I'm preaching to the choir because you being the head of all of that, that's a big undertaking. So let's talk about April. April, you guys are really focusing in on 2 very important topics. What are they?
Prevention and alcohol awareness.
Correct. So why and then how do you go about doing that? And is it something that, we're so used to, David, hearing over and over again, talking about the latest epidemic drug, if it's opioids or if it's, X, Y, Z, the next thing. We kind of have forgotten a little bit about alcohol. And is that something that is really, look, it's just as present as it ever was? Why is it that that's the chosen drug of choice for the month of April?
It impacts lives all over our state, all over the nation. It is consistently the drug of choice for young people. It is not only highly addictive, but it's legal, and it consistently affects all of our families in this state. There's really, if you talk to anybody, there's no one that won't have a story about how alcohol affected someone in their family or their neighbor or their child. So it's consistently the drug out there. You're right, there are trends. There are opioids, and then becomes methamphetamines, but in the background always is alcohol. We can never forget that that's always a problem in our communities, and how do we treat it?
And is it safe to say that a lot of times those that struggle with alcohol addiction, I hate to use the term gateway, but I'm going to use it anyway, that kind of can lead to other addictions down the line, to say opioids or meth or anything else?
It absolutely can. Polysubstance dependence is a problem. Youth that get involved with alcohol are more likely to be involved with not only other illegal drugs, prescriptions, but also marijuana or vaping or any of those things that adversely affect our health.
Sure. Well, it makes sense. I mean, alcohol is going to let some of those inhibitions down, and you aren't thinking as clearly as you would should you be completely sober. So you could find yourself in quite the predicament, huh? So let's talk to those individuals that maybe need help. And perhaps somebody is watching the show right now and thinking, wow, this is just a godsend right now that I'm hearing this. How do I go about getting treatment? And if you guys are here and you say you're doing this, where do I go?
Well, and that's something I thank you for asking that, because I'd really like to emphasize that anybody out there who is ready to stop drinking, is ready to maybe just talk to somebody about it. Maybe it's a problem, maybe they're not sure, maybe they just want to see if this is something that I can tackle right now. No one should be discouraged from seeking treatment for lack of payment, for resources in the community. We have, as I mentioned, 64 providers stretched across the Suncoast region. So there is somebody near you to get treatment. On our website, www.cfbhn.org, there is a resource locator on there, and not just for alcohol, for any drug addiction, for mental health issues, for housing resources. And I'd just like to encourage you, don't let lack of funding stop you from going and seek treatment.
Sure.
You will get treatment.
Sure. Now, as we're talking about that, and that's one of the beautiful things about CFBHN, I have to commend you on that yes, you are a fantastic resource. But we're talking about alcohol. So first thing that comes to mind is maybe AA. Would you say to those people that are out there, if you're actually even questioning it, because I would imagine that AA might be intimidating at first, I don't know if I have that much of a problem. I'm not ready for that yet. Who are we talking to? Are we talking to anyone? Those that, yes, I know I have a problem, or those that maybe I just want to slow down, or I don't want to do AA. I'm not, whatever that means to them. Is it anyone? Really?
It is anyone.
If you've got a question.
If you've got a question,
right.
now AA, NA, those are self-help groups. They're not something that is a funded treatment option. And for any of your viewers out there, it is their choice about their treatment options when they come in. They can use NA or AA, or they cannot. That'll be up to them and their treatment provider, whether that's an option for them.
So maybe that's a good supplemental self-help group, or another form of therapy that could actually supplement if someone comes to you and really needs treatment, and they're benefiting from CFBHN's programs as well then, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. It is a supplement to the formal treatment that they're receiving, and they can have that discussion with their counselor, their case manager, whether that's the right option for them.
Fantastic. So David Clapp again.
Yes. Something I'd just like to emphasize, so the one thing I want all your viewers to know is that treatment works.
Treatment
consistently works. We know people recover, people get better from their addictions and from their mental health issues. So please, seek treatment.
You have heard it from the Chief Clinical Officer himself, Dr. David Clapp. We have been talking all about CFBHN. That's the website you're looking at right there. Any information that we have been talking about, you'll find it here on that website, and then some. If you at all feel like perhaps you could benefit from some of their services, be it for alcohol, drugs, or mental health issues, by all means, look them up. CFBHN.org, that's the website. Why don't you go check it out while we go to break. Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders. We've been talking with the good people from CFBHN. We're now joined by Naja Jackson. Welcome to the show. You are the Prevention Program Manager.
Yes,
So nice
correct.
to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You know, we were talking with David earlier about alcohol awareness. I know, April, you guys are focusing on two very important topics, one being alcohol awareness, and the other is safe drug disposal.
Yes.
So that's not something that immediately comes to my mind until it comes down to, you know, I have this medication from surgery 2 years ago. What? I don't want it in my house anymore, yet do I just throw it in the garbage? Do I put it in the toilet? How, talk to us about that.
Well, so for environmental purposes and just in general, we always urge people to not throw them in the garbage and not put them in the toilet. And so most of the counties that we serve have what we call permanent drop boxes. And they're at local pharmacies, so your CVS, your Walgreens, some of your mom and pop pharmacies have them too, and law enforcement. So you can go there 365 days of the year and drop off any of your medications. That's the safest way.
Right.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Safest way. And if you are homebound, let's say you may not have transportation, we do have something called drug disposal deactivation pouches. They're really neat.
Oh, wow.
You can just put your medications in there, pills, liquid, patches, things like that. You put water in it, and you can throw it in the trash. That's the only way we allow you to throw it in the trash if you use those little pouches.
Okay, and how do you get one of those?
And you can get
Through
them
the
through, well, you can go to our website, cfbhn.org, and we can link you with one of our local coalitions, and they can get you connected with those
There you
pouches.
are. And that's the website for you at home. You're looking at it on your screen right there. I told you everything we talk about here today is going to be on that website right there, cfbhn.org. Write it down. You'll want to check it out. So, Naja, since you are the Prevention Program Manager, let's talk about that. I mean, we don't have enough time, right, to talk about it
Not
all.
really. It's
My
near and dear to
goodness.
my heart. I could write a book about it.
How is it that the community can help with this issue? And what is it? Talk, just the
Well, I
floor
look
is
at
yours.
substance abuse prevention as it's everyone's responsibility, right? It's a community responsibility, whether you're a parent, caregiver, if you're a teacher, law enforcement, it doesn't really matter. We all are impacted in some way, right,
Sure.
by the negative effects of it. So we should also be a part of the prevention part of it.
I love that
So
take
a
on it.
big aspect of prevention is education. You'd be surprised what little information we as consumers know about prevention of substance use and things of that nature, and really just kind of talking to the youth about it. That's the core of prevention. We want to get them while they're young, while they're impressionable, and we want to be able to kind of hit them with some good positive information and education.
And that's not just, we're not talking about just drug usage, because I think that's, of course, you poll anyone walking down the street, okay, would you talk to your children about not using drugs? Well, of course.
Right.
But do a lot of parents talk to their kids about, hey, don't use alcohol?
Yes and no. So we talk about different ways that you can talk to your children. Like there's a campaign I know about called Talk They Hear You, specifically designed for parents. They give you quick little tools and suggested questions. But honestly, just having an open dialogue with your children and letting them know what your expectations are.
Sure.
You
Bottom
know,
line is
bottom
communication.
line, communication. You have to talk to them about it and let them know. And the earlier, the better. So, of course, what you say to an 8-year-old may be different than what you would say to a 16-year-old.
Right.
But you should be talking about risky behaviors in general.
Sure.
Not just alcohol and drugs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind your audience. You wouldn't explain to a 6-year-old how to use a toaster with the same language you would to an adult,
Exactly.
maybe, right?
Yes.
So let's talk
Absolutely.
about positive social norms.
Yes.
I know I've heard this phrase. I'm sure you at home have heard it, like just used throughout educated people lingo. What does that mean exactly, and what are we talking about?
It's really just a spin on, instead of talking about everyone who's using or the negative effects of things, you're really putting the positive spin on it, and you're talking about the healthy attitudes and behaviors that people have. Like kids, for instance, assume that their peers are using
Right.
substances when in actuality the majority of them are not.
Sure.
But the peer pressure makes them feel as though, well, everyone else is doing it. So a lot of the social norms is just putting a simple statistic: 85% of the kids at your school, they're not using drugs, they're not doing marijuana.
Sure.
And they
So
see
it's a
that.
matter of a take on how to spend things. I mean, for as long as I've been walking the planet, I know it was the fear tactic. You know, let me
Yeah.
tell you what it
The
does to you.
scare tactics don't work.
I think we all know what can happen, but so that's a
Yeah.
great point to make. So make it instead of what can happen. Look at these, and I use examples in my house. Show another person, like my son's into football. So this guy didn't even da 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 da.
Exactly.
You know,
So you highlight the
absolutely.
positives.
Positives. I love that.
Yes.
All right, you want more information on everything we've been talking about today? Well, you can do it by logging onto the website that you see here, and that's CFBHN.org. Perhaps you yourself could use some guidance. You need some resources. Maybe you are struggling with alcohol or drug addiction. Perhaps you know someone that's got some mental health issues that would like to get them some help. That's the website you're going to go to, CFBHN.org. Why don't you check it out while we go to break? Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders. We've been speaking with the folks from Central Florida Behavioral Health Network. And of course, we're joined again by Dr. David Clapp, and we've got Margot Fleischer. Welcome to the show. Now, you are a program manager and trainer with CFBHN, right?
That's right.
Wow. Very good. I love talking. I was telling Dr. Clapp earlier, I love it when you guys come because, you know, to hear, okay, well, this is what you do, but it really, you put into perspective and give our viewers a real understanding as to what's available to them in this 14 county region that you guys take care of. It's good to know that you're there taking care of us. So that being said, let's talk about those programs and some of the training that you do and how it relates to what we're talking about today, which is alcohol awareness.
Sure. What would you like to know about first?
First of all, you've got programs. I know that. Let's talk about detox.
Right,
Okay. Detox. I hear detox. First of all, I instantly think, oh, sounds like a great facial. But detox, okay, I think of even a self-cleansing detox that you might do for yourself. But this is a very real thing, and it's something that people go through, especially as it relates to alcohol or drug addiction. Can you explain that to us and what that encompasses?
Sure. Detox is a very important service in the continuum of services for alcohol and other drug abuse, and it's often the beginning of recovery for a lot of people. It's the medical service that assists people to withdraw safely from alcohol and other drugs. So there are staff that assist with the physical withdrawal symptoms that alcohol and some other drugs have. But they do so much more than that because it also is emotional support and psychological support and linkage to other important services in the community that they're going to need.
You mentioned earlier AA and NA. A lot of times patients will get started in those services through the detox services. That emotional support. They'll get their plan together for, okay, now that's out of my system, I'm detoxified.
Right.
How do I gain the support and the services I need to continue on in recovery?
Sure. So how do I stay clean?
How do I stay clean?
Stay clean and or sober, as they would say. So with these programs, I instantly think, okay, so it is a process then to go through detox, certainly dependent upon what we're talking about, whatever it is, and how severe the addiction has become, correct? So when you're looking for a treatment or a treatment facility, how do you determine or how do you know which ones to go to? What is considered, according to you, what would be considered a good treatment program?
That's a really great question. Thank you for asking that because treatment is really effective for a lot of people. But maybe not in the way a lot of people in the general community think. A lot of people imagine this freestanding place and you go and that's it. But really effective treatment engages a person and provides them support across a continuum So maybe from detox into a residential or
So do we
outpatient.
have that, is there a pretty good gauge there on the website that we could check out to kind of find out exactly what those are?
Yeah,
For you at home, that website is on your screen right there, cfbhn.org. Sorry to cut it short, but we do have to take a break. We'll come back after this. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Bayside, and of course, Dr. Clapp, Margot, thank you both for being here. And I say it every time, we need a whole hour to talk to you guys. You do so many things here in the Bay Area. For you at home, log on to cfbhn.org for more information. You can find treatment programs, anything and everything that we've talked about here today. cfbhn.org, that's the site. Go check it out.